The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
1420 Sports Bar Podcast, for beer of sports talk and a whole lot more. Join host Brent Radlinsky as he bellies up to the bar and gets the conversations going that'll make you think you're sitting in your local watering room. It's sports, beer, and shenanigans, so sit back, grab a few beers, and let's get into it. The 1420 Sports Bar Podcast, for beer of sports talk and a whole lot more. Today's show, as always, .com, CGGAP, promo code. Belly up today at SeatGeek and get yourself $20 off your first purchase. That's promo code Belly Up. Remember, we're part of the Belly Up Media Network. Go to bellyupsports.com for all their great articles and other great podcasts as well. Today, we are joined by a friend of the show and recent ESPN Radio Wisconsin personality, Aaron Riley. How you doing, Aaron?
I appreciate the intro. It's something different, but yeah, doing well. We're finally turning the corner, I think, on winter. This winter just feels like it would not end, but I think we're finally at least making progress on turning the corner at least. So
yeah, we had minus 30. It was cold on Tuesday, I think it was. It was awful, and it's starting to warm up now. It's supposed to be plus 14, which is about 65 degrees. You're talking starting this week, so everything's kind of turning around and melting. So now you got a bit of a mess out there, but it's with that melt means baseball's right around the corner. Spring training got going yesterday with the Dodgers and the Cubs. The big thing, I guess, there's been a few storylines to get going, but the one thing I didn't bring it up on the show notes before we got going here, but it's a pretty easy topic to talk about. The automatic balls and strike system that Major League Baseball is giving a shot. They've been doing it in the minor leagues, independent leagues for a few years now. But Major League Baseball is giving it a shot in spring training. I'm an umpire. I kind of like it. I kind of don't like it. I don't know how, if they had it in leagues I would do it, I'd probably quit. But what's your thoughts being you're a high school baseball guy and you love the game of baseball in general? What's your thoughts, Aaron, on the automatic balls and strike system? And do you like it? Do you not like it? What's your thoughts?
I'm kind of, I probably reside where you do a little bit, like 50-50 on it. I think, we've seen a lot of egregious calls over the history of baseball, right? But I think it's been magnified a lot in the last 5 to 10 years. So I think they should do something, to kind of clean it up a little bit, polish the game up. But I haven't heard, maybe I just didn't read enough on it. Is it amount of pitches per game? Like you can kind of challenge 3 pitches a game. Like what's the limit on?
Yeah, I think it's 3 to 5 pitches you can challenge. You can do it at certain times of the game. It's just more so in spring training. It's just to see how fast it can work and how it will work. I like it's funny. I think if you got you wouldn't probably have these conversations that you're having with the pitch trackers and everything else if you didn't have that stupid box on TV that changes from broadcast to broadcast, and people say it's inside this magical box. It's on TV. Well, that's got to be a strike. Well, there's depths and things and stuff and how it all works with the game of baseball. It's a 3-dimensional strike zone. It's not just a box, right? So I think, and then with how quick instant replay is on broadcast, I think that magnifies a lot too, because people see different things. I don't know. I thing about the game of baseball, it's been, this is obviously old man get off my lawn thing, but baseball is kind of one of those things that it's imperfect perfection. All right. And players that fail 7 out of 10 times to go in the Hall of Fame. If umpire fails 7 out of 10 times, doesn't have a job. So it's kind of it's a really funny, it's a fine line there. And you just, you wonder if, why they would figure it to go this way. Like it's we say it in every sport, but baseball is a bit different, where a pitch can change a game and an out or a safe can change a game at first base or at home plate or whatever it might be. But why, you wonder why they would go to these levels when every other level you get to before you get to the big leagues, that I know the reason, but they have to have it perfect, every call being right. Now, I don't know if that's the right way to do things.
Yeah, no, I totally get you. It's one of those, like you said, imperfect, perfect. I think, it can be crucial at, like the 9th inning, right? You get punched out, 2 outs, and then boom, called strike 3 for the 3rd out. And it's like, we've seen it, a couple inches, 4 or 5 inches off the plate. That completely could change a game, right? Like, let's say Judge is up, the Yankees are down 1, he gets called on a strike that's, in the dirt. It's like, well, now we're talking like this outcome could have been different. So I like it to a certain degree, but I don't want it. I mean, like 5 pitches. If both teams are using 5 pitches a game, I feel like it will feel excessive, like it will be like, okay, this is a little too much. But I mean, I think they have to do something to clean it up. I don't know another way either. Like, I don't want robot umps. Like I'd rather them do this before they go the robot umps direction. But
yeah,
I'm not sold on this either. I guess it's
and you guess they like really. Let's not sugarcoat this. They really kind of have to with how in bed all these sports leagues are with betting, right? So they don't really have a choice, because if somebody's got $3 million down on whatever game and a horseshit call decides the outcome, then what? Right? Is there lawsuits involved? Is there this involved? Is there that involved? Who knows? Like, I don't dive too deep into that stuff, but I guess when you're so in bed with BetMGM or whoever it is this day, because it's actually the betting ads have gone down quite a bit in the last while for me, if what I've seen. But it's just you know that this has something that it has to be one of the reasons of why it is getting implemented. I mean, nobody cared for 80 years. That they had this. I know technology is different and everything else, but that probably has a lot to do with just the money that's involved, and not just betting, but just what people are getting paid. I mean, the batting average doesn't count a whole bunch anymore, but all of a sudden the guy goes from 290 to 260 because of X amount of crap calls on him. Then it's a few bucks out of his bank account.
Yeah. There's a lot of fallout from it. Like, not only just like one game out of 162, like you said. I wonder if, let's say a certain umpire is like, okay, this guy's on a track record to have, 5 pitches called a game. Like, I wonder if baseball look at that and say, okay, this guy needs a little bit of work down in the minor leagues. Like, if there's a guy that's, you're challenging 2 to 3 pitches on average a game. I mean, nobody's perfect, and the ball's coming in. I mean, there's guys throwing over 100 now, and the way the ball sinks and stuff like that, and sliders start from one side of the plate to the other. I don't know. It's easier said than done. I mean, I think we can both say like Angel Hernandez was probably horrible, but
he wasn't very good. No, he wasn't. Yeah.
I'm not going to say it's an easy job either. Like you're an umpire, you know firsthand how it is, but I have a little bit of grace towards these guys. I mean, easy for the guy at home with the chips in one hand and the pop in the other to say that's a ball, sure. But you're not standing behind that plate where Kershaw's dropping in a 12-6 and it's like,
yeah,
good luck. Like I like that they're doing something. I guess this is probably the best way. I can't really picture a different way. I don't want them to go the robot, like the tennis thing where they kind of zoom, like they use some technology and then, I don't know. If it's hopefully it doesn't slow down the game. I could see it potentially. I see them how they model it and how it looks, but if there's back and forth and it's just I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, I guess.
The other thing about this, it's going to take away the fine art of back catching. Like catchers who can frame pitches are invaluable. Like you can't put a price tag on those guys. So it's going to kind of take that art form away a little bit. You talked about how the game gets slowed down. I went to a junior hockey game here in Lethbridge on Wednesday night, I guess it was. And you're talking about slowing things down. In the first period, there was 2 reviews. And it slowed things down to a crawl, and the game just never picked pace back up again. Like it's like, all right, well, this is it for this, and it's too bad that it happens that way. But speaking of money and everything else, we're talking there. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. I know, like I don't know what it's like out there in the East Coast where you are in Pennsylvania, but obviously it's very no matter where you are in Canada, the Blue Jays are number 1 for baseball fans here in Canada. Most people who watch baseball identify with the Jays, and I'm sure you heard a little bit about the Vladimir Guerrero deciding not to sign a contract. It was going to be, they didn't really disclose the numbers, but it was said to be the largest deal in Blue Jays history to keep him there for the remainder of his career. He's eligible to become a free agent after this year is done, and he said, "No thanks. See you later. We'll talk when the season's over." That can't be good for the Blue Jays. It can't be for when you're star guy saying, you know what, I'm good.
No, definitely not. I mean, that's your face of the franchise. That's like everybody knows Vladdy Jr. across. I know baseball doesn't market their guys well, but you know, most baseball players or most baseball fans, I should say, excuse me, like they know who Vladdy is, and the fact that, you know, like you said, they offer him most money in Blue Jays history, and he turns it down. That's kind of a telltale sign that he just doesn't want to be there. I mean, I would think it's not about the money or the years or whatever. Even though we don't know that for sure, it's, I mean, the fact that he flat out, you know, unless I don't know if he's a Boris client, but you know, maybe they're playing that whole game where, you know, they'll wait and see and this and that and play the negotiation game. But it doesn't sound like he's coming back there. At least now things can change, but it's, yeah, I mean, I'm sure, you know, Blue Jays fans, I don't know if you give them a good, you know, a welcome cheer this year. I probably wouldn't. I mean, I'm coming from a Philadelphia fan. We kind of boo everybody that doesn't, you know, please us, but that's not a great going into a season that hasn't even started and you're saying, yeah, most likely I'm not coming back here. You're not going to be a fan favorite, I would expect.
Well, the thing that I think happened is that the Jays kind of overstretched their boundaries a little bit when it came to first Ohtani two off seasons ago, and then this past off season with Soto. They put a great big number in front of both of those guys, and this is pure speculation on my point. They put a great big number out there, full well knowing that neither of those guys was going to sign in Toronto, just to make it look like the Jays were interested. Just to give the fan base, hey, yeah, you know what, we're trying, we're going for it. We offered him 70 million, we offered him 65 million, whatever the numbers might be, and then full well knowing, and then now that it was Vladdy's turn, he's like, okay, so let me get this straight. You offered two guys who haven't played a day in Canada, haven't played a day for the Jays, haven't put on this uniform, that we're going to the highest bidder. You offered this guy more money than you're willing to give me, who's been the face of this franchise, and on it goes for how long? I'll bet you this is like once again pure speculation, but I will bet you that Guerrero went, you know, if you offered that to them, you're going to give me that too, because I'm the guy around here.
And then you go back to, you know, if you're the Jays, you're like, well, you're not Soto level, or you're not, you know, whoever it might be, right? Like, do the Jays come back and then say, well, we're offering you this because this is what we think you're like. The market dictates your value. You know, we talk about the quarterbacks in the NFL, you know, the next guy will get 55, the next guy. It's not so much about the individual, where in baseball, you can make the case because it is an individualistic sport that's played as a team more so, you know, it's just more complicated that way. But like, if I'm the Jays, I don't know what you do. Like, I wouldn't want to overspend on one guy and then, you know, not have a pitching staff. That's always seems to be their problem. Like, and then, you know, certain guys, you know, you're signing Soto on the Mets, you're going into the luxury tax. Sure, that owner doesn't care. Maybe the Jays owner does care. You know, it's just like there's so many things, there's so many aspects to it. But I mean, I wouldn't overspend for. I mean, he's a first baseman who hits home runs. Like, he's not. Not to say he's not valuable, but it's like, I from a team perspective, how, you know, they've lost with him. You know, they'll win with him, they'll lose with him. You know, like it's another Mike Trout thing. It's just like I don't know.
Like, I find it always ends up talking about this, but I find giving position players that kind of money is a bit of a waste of money, waste of time. Because if you're hitting, because it's a numbers game, you have a guy who's hitting 268 and then a guy who's hitting 257. Well, what's that over 162 games? 10 hits, 20 hits, right? And what is it? And then so you strike out X amount of time. So this guy's not even getting on base 75% of the time. And then so how much money is that worth? Obviously it's worth something because someone's paying them, and you got to have guys who can score runs and get on base, especially with how good pitching is, as we alluded to earlier, that it's like hitting's probably the hardest thing to do in professional sports. So you got to have guys who can hit, but to have a guy not and I don't want to say not being the star, but when they have the game matchups, they don't put who the two first basemen are. They put who the pitching matchup is on the screen, right? So I just find it's not Guerrero versus Judge, or it's not Guerrero versus Trout, or it's not Soto versus pick your poison. It's who the two starting pitchers are, and that isn't going away. Like starting pitching is almost at a more of a premium now than ever, because of injuries and on it goes, and innings eaters, because that's what starting pitchers are. It's not so much wins and losses what their record is anymore. It's just eating innings and getting to your bullpen, because now these pitching staffs are 17 guys deep. So it's to pay a guy $55 million to go 1 for 4. I don't know. Like to me, that's it's I don't know.
Yeah,
That's
no, absolutely. And I don't know, two things on that. I don't know if you feel the same way, but just watching Vladdy, I'm not going to say he came out, and balled out this past season because he's in a contract year, but he almost feels like that type of guy. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't. I don't know if like he's not the type where like winning might not absolutely crush him. And I'm not saying that what's the percentage of guys that are like that anymore? I don't know. But like if you're signed like an Aaron Judge, right? Like that's a captain. That's a guy that you want as a leader on the team. Like, yes, the stats are what you pay for, but like you want that to come with it. Like you don't, Ohtani, you want a guy that who knows about his character and whatnot. But it's one of those things where like Vladdy just putting up the numbers that he does. Like, is he really like? Is he the face? Is he the leader in the clubhouse? Is he this? Is he that? Like Mike Trout, how much of a difference does that guy make for the morale of the clubhouse, the morale of the team? I don't know. I'd rather stack a lineup. It like kind of how the Yankees, okay, they didn't get Soto to come back. They bring in Bellinger. They bring in Max Fried and stuff like that. Like I'd rather balance it out over an entire lineup or a pitching staff than throw all my eggs in one basket with Vladdy. Like if the Jays don't sign him back, okay, look at it this way. You have all that money you can go spend, and diversify it into the pitching staff and build a 1 through 9 lineup. Like not many teams have a great 1 through 9 anymore. Like even if you look at the Phillies, that like 7, 8, 9 is like it's lackluster. And then, you get to the bottom of the lineup, you're like, oh, great, these guys aren't going to turn the lineup over. So like, why aren't more teams trying to, build a 1 through 9 solid lineup instead of signing this guy who's going to, he puts asses in the seats. That's about it. He's a good player, but.
And that like you gotta have guys, right? You gotta have talent, and talent costs money, but eventually you gotta look at it, because it's like no matter what, it is a business. And you just go, okay, if we give this guy 55 or whatever the number is going to be, 50, 45, whatever, doesn't matter. It's how do you fill the rest of the lineup? Like you said, like there's only so many dollars to go around, no matter how big your corporation is. We can everybody say, well, these guys are billionaires and they can afford it. Well, if they don't want to, they don't have to, right? Like it's that simple. Like I have a budget. This is a business. It's the same as any other business. That if we can only have 3 employees flipping pancakes, whatever, that's your 3 employees, and that's all it can be. And so when people get all butthurt, because Rogers has a lot of money. I mean, they're a big corporation here in Canada, but if they don't want to spend it, they don't have to. And then for some guy to say, I'm not going to, well, Blue Jays says, and like, I think it would be in their best interest. Cause I if I had a 10 grand to throw down on Bet US or whatever, I'd put 10 grand that the Jays aren't winning the World Series. Like that's a guarantee.
Yeah.
Right. It's a guarantee. Are they a playoff team? Maybe they might be a playoff team. But Boston's a lot better this year, right? The Yankees are still the Yankees. You have it, and on it goes. So did you just say, do you cut your losses now and trade them? Because you could, you could spin this, like the Jays could spin this on Guerrero now and say, we offered him the biggest contract in Blue Jays history. We offered him the most money to be a Blue Jay forever. And like you said, they can probably get people booing him now because he didn't sign that contract. So now it's fair game to trade him. To listen, the Jays said we did all we could do. We have to get some return on our investment. And you know what? Let's just get rid of him now. Let's see what we do the first 50 games, whatever it is. Just get through the hockey playoffs, because people don't really watch Jays baseball till the hockey playoffs are done. Let's get through that. If we're 20 and 30, let's trade him. Let's trade him and get some return on investment.
No, I love that point. I think that's, I mean, we're talking about operating as a business. I mean, sure, he might put more. I mean, that's the thing too. How many more people go to Jays game? Like you would probably know a little bit better. how many, I don't know if that many Phillies fans go to see Harper, right? I don't know Judge is probably a different story. Ohtani's a different story, but like, are people going out of their way to go see Vladdy play? I don't know. I don't know if he's a great talent. I'm not trying to say this guy is like even average. Obviously he's a great player, but like, we saw it play out with the Angels with Ohtani. Like I kept saying they should trade him. They should trade because I just didn't trust them to bring him back. I just, he wanted to go to a better team and sure in the same city, he goes to a better team and look, they get nothing. Like they would have got, the Orioles probably would have gave him the entire farm system, like one of these teams that would have, gambled on that has a top tier farm system. Even the Yankees, even, the Dodgers at the time probably would have traded him and then signed him. But at least if you're the Angels, you walk away with something. This is the same situation playing out for the Jays. And then if he doesn't sign back, and now it's put you back even further, because watch, they won't. A lot of these teams, they'll dish out that money for one guy, but they, just like I said, they won't go out and diversify their money. So they'll just be stuck in, where they're at, if not worse, because now they don't have Vladdy and they didn't go out and be aggressive and sign everybody else. So I'd trade him while if you really know that he's not coming back. It could be smoke and mirrors, but right now it sounds like he has no intention on coming back. So
like lifespan of a professional athlete is some guys are 2 years, some guys are 10, some guys you might get 15 out of them. So there's going to be the next Vladimir Guerrero playing. The Jays aren't going anywhere, right? They're going to have a franchise when Vladdy's done and retired. So if people aren't going to will they be upset that he got traded? Yeah. Will he be upset that he didn't get signed? Yeah, with the jerseys and the things and stuff and everything and the big smile and the dreadlocks and everything. But no matter what, 5 years from now or 10 years from now, there has to be another guy coming through anyways. Like there's no loyalty to these guys, right? Like it's you can blame ownership and you can blame the players, or to me, you blame both. Like it's that simple. Nobody in their right mind turns down, like Soto turns down $765 million, right? Nobody. And like an ownership can only do so much. And the thing with Guerrero, that kind of gets lost in this. Like when his dad was in Texas, I believe, the Yankees didn't offer him really anything. He was a free agent. There was a story behind that many, many moons ago that Guerrero basically said he's not going to the Yankees. So he's already cut himself out of how many teams in free agency. If he's already turned down, let's say the 40 million a year, whatever the number might be, I'm sure it'll get leaked out, quote unquote, by Jay's management. But if he's turned down, there's only so many teams in baseball that are willing to pay that kind of money. So what are you doing? Like not everybody can be a Yankee, because he already said he's not going to go there. So and not everybody can play for the Dodgers, or the Mets. So what are you going to do? So now you've basically said, well, I'm only going to sign for 4 teams. Well, it doesn't really work that way.
Well, and that's the thing too. Like, it's not only that these guys aren't loyal, like, with him not coming back to the Jays, then they come out and say, publicly, like, that's just a dumb, even if he had no plans on going to the Yankees, he should sit down with them and drive the price up, okay, now the Yankees are in on him. Now the Dodgers, like, that's just one more team to kind of mix it up and, with the contracts and stuff like that. So these guys just are so they're so entitled. I get it. They're great baseball players and whatnot, but like, it's just the way they go about things. Like, oh, I'm not going to play there. And they say it like right out in the open. And like, it's like, I'm the play. Like, they think they hold all the marbles, and they do to a certain degree, but not completely, not completely. So.
Well, that's the thing, is like you put your money where your mouth is a little bit, right? Because we all always, like, there's only 4 or 5 teams that can afford it. But if let's just say, for sake of conversation, that somebody offered Guerrero, let's say it's the Milwaukee Brewers, because you're on with Trajan there on Wisconsin sports on the go there. But like, let's say that the Milwaukee Brewers said, you know what? Let's do something. Let's make a splash in free agency. They're trying to get a new building and whatever out there. If they said, let's offer Guerrero, the shiny toy on the free agent market, $50 million. Let's give him $50 million a year for 10. Play out his career as a Milwaukee Brewer. Does he say no? right?
I
Like
guess you got to know, I guess, what the other, like, is that the highest bidder, or you're just
if the Brewers are the highest bidder, the Brewers went 6 million more than anybody else.
I mean,
10 million. Let's say 10 million more.
Oh yeah, I definitely think, yeah, at that point, because I mean, we're talking about two different guys. We don't know how these guys are hardwired and stuff like that. But the whole Soto, I think the Soto Yankee thing was down to like 3 to 4. It was under 5 million, I believe, and then it was this. Soto's like, I want a free suite on top. Talk about a guy that's just, my God, like, you're getting paid an obnoxious amount of money to play baseball, like. And then you want a free, as a not a Yankee fan. I even think that's disgusting. Like, I'd be like, dude, you're dead to me. But
yeah, what did Cashman and Steinbrenner say? We didn't give one to Jeter. You ain't getting one.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's just like, you have that much money, and like, that's still, I guarantee that suite's not. I don't know. It's probably under $1 million a year though. I mean, they'd cut him a deal. It wouldn't even equal out to a lot of his contract. Is what I'm trying to say. So. If he's willing to Soto's willing to do that, to kind of go, right across New York and play. If somebody, if the Brewers or the Marlins, one of these teams that like no one would see coming, steps in and offers somebody even 5 million more, I think most of these guys are only worried about the money. I mean, we saw Chris Bryant go from winning a World Series with the Cubs, and he goes to the Rockies, and like nobody even knows he exists, but they offer him the most money. Yeah, I mean, I think, I'm not going to say all these guys are like that, but I'd probably say at least 80%, and that might be low. I mean, it's, you're talking 10 million more. I think they go to the Diamondbacks. I think you name any of these small market, the Orioles, go on and go, so on and so forth. It's about the money. It's a shame. But
just once, I'd like to hear one of these guys come in their introductory press conference when they're putting on the jersey over top of their suit and tie and jacket and whatever, and they look stupid and awkward. I just like for once, just once, one of them say, "Well, I'm here because they offer me the most money." Like, just say it. Just tell the truth. Because that every cold or warm-blooded American, a Canadian, whoever lives in a free enterprise system, they go to where they get paid the most money. Like, if there was a baseball organization around here that pay me more money, I'd go. Yeah, sure.
It's
like, it's only as far as your bank account. And I wish one of these guys would say that. Just flat out say, yeah, they paid me the most. I don't care if we win. I don't know if we're going to win. I don't even know who's on this team. I didn't know who's on this team until the other day when I signed the contract. I don't know who plays left field for the Colorado Rockies, but they gave me the most money, so I signed here. That's it.
It's like, okay, if you're talking to just the general population, I think there's a lot of people that, okay, I get treated well here, I'm going to stay working here. And what's crazy is, like, the thing that, and I've told you this a million times, the thing that like completely bothers me about how these guys, talk about the whole process is, I'm trying to set my family up. I'm trying to set up, my kids. Either way, like these people that are working, like, not to crap on anybody, but, the people working in restaurants or waiters and waitresses, like, if they're getting treated right, usually not always, but a lot of the time they say, you know what, I'm going to stick it out here a little longer. They treat me well. These baseball players act like, oh, if I sign with the Yankees instead of the Mets, I'm going to go broke tomorrow. Like that's so blasphemy to me. Like, it's just the way they say that is, I need to set my family up. Cut the shit, like you're making hundreds of million. There's a $10 million gap, and you're trying to tell me that you're worried about your kid's kid, and then you go off the field and do a Subway commercial and make it anyway. So it's obnoxious to say that. Is so obnoxious to me.
I had a laugh the other day. I was sitting down at local watering hole having a beer, and they were just reading the ticker, and there was some NBA player, and I'm not going to even pretend to know anything about the National Basketball Association, or who I couldn't name you 5 players, and that's the truth. It's just I don't care, and I tried, but anyways, this player signed what we'll call George Bailey. George Bailey signed with whoever have agreed to a $40 million 8-year contract. Well, yeah, they agreed. Like, of course the player agreed to it. Yeah, 40? Sure. Done. Thanks. Like, the wording is so crazy to me that they agreed to it. Well, yeah, you said $40 million a year to play basketball, and I don't know who the guy is. Yeah, I'll take it. It's absolutely crazy the way that it's just nuts. It's nuts to me, like you said. It's just like, how do you? It's odd. It's just really, really odd to me. Yeah.
I mean, it's like mind numbing. The numbers that these guys are. I don't know. I mean, it's just like there was a guy, Jimmy Butler, he just signed, and he basically, he's in the NBA. He quit on the Miami Heat. Like, he's like, I'm done. Like, he'd show up to the plane late on purpose, so like the plane would take off, and then he'd be like straggling along. Oh, plane left. That sucks. Like, and they're paying him like $40 million a year, and I'm like, to play basketball, like, I'm not trying to say, it's not a real
It's
job.
hard. Like being a professional in anything in sport is hard. Like it is, right?
It's not easy, but it's like, and I get it's grueling, and night in, night out, and all that, and you're in different cities, and it's like mentally that's taxing. But getting paid $40 million and just basically tell them to shove it, like that's neither one of us can go to our jobs and just I don't feel like doing it today. I'm just gonna kick my feet up.
I'm good.
Watch the time go past. Like, it's just. I don't know. It's a whole different world, but man, it's like, and those NBA contracts are getting like, they're going super. I think they call it super max or something. Now the guys are making like 70 million a year. Like, it's just, it never stops. So
like the NHL, they tried this new thing, this Four Nations Cup, and it was phenomenal hockey. It was very exciting. America and Canada played on Thursday night, and Canadians won 3-2 overtime. The whole thing was fantastic. And it's a tournament that I didn't give any 15 days ago. I wasn't going to watch it, and all of a sudden, of course, I'm riveted on Thursday night. Even last Saturday, I watched it was a great, and the U.S. team was fantastic, and it was awesome. And best on best competition. I was talking with somebody the other night we went to Boston Beach or something and watched the game. It was packed and everybody's having a good time. And we started talking between periods about the best on best competition. Hockey is the only sport I think that it actually works. Like because baseball doesn't get as intense with the it's not as fast. It's a slow moving game, and you're only as good as your starting pitcher, and it can be like hockey is the only sport where a best on best competition between countries can actually work. Basketball, because they can't even get an all-star game right. Like the Olympics, like it's just all right. It's okay. Maybe it's because I'm not the biggest basketball fan. Football, there's only one country that really plays it, so you can't really have a different. You just can't have a best, maybe state to state, maybe, or region to region or something in football. But yeah, like it's funny how basketball players think that they're just great, but there's only one country that really, there's different. You just couldn't have a best on best competition. Like it just compared to way did you watch hockey game at all?
I did. Yeah, I think you're exactly right. The thing with basketball too versus like if you watch it, here and there, it's like, yeah, the NHL playoffs is I would say sped up a good bit and a lot more. I'm not going to say effort, because like if you watch the NBA regular season, it's like these it's like you go down to the YMCA, you're watching the same thing. They're just jogging it, they're dogging it, like it's whatever till like the fourth quarter. But like hockey on a night to night basis is like, I mean, you look at the games, heavily competitive, 3-2, 4-3, 2-1, like and it's like every shift it feels like those guys are giving it to her. So it's but no, watching that, what's it called, a Nations Cup again, I couldn't remember the name, but
Four Nations Cup,
that was, I mean, the fights right off the bat was like, wow, like a lot more got into it than just the game, I think. But that being said, it was I think it was a hit. I mean, it seemed like everybody was watching it, and people that have never watched hockey before were watching it. So,
well, I was laughing about, we were talking with another guy, and we were saying how Americans don't catch on the game of hockey, because it's fast. You guys like that. Violence, because you guys like kind of breed violence down there in some aspects of life, and like it's just how it's never really caught on so much. And then what's going to suck a lot for Americans who are on the outside looking into the game of hockey, they're going to tune into games tonight, and it's not going to be the same intensity. Like it's going to play like NHL teams, they play at a different level during the regular season also. But it'd be like from the game that they played on Thursday night to what they're going to watch later on tonight won't be the same. Like it just won't be. People are like, well, this isn't nearly as good as it was the other night. People are guaranteed going to say that. Like, it's just funny how that works.
Yeah, no, it's I mean, I'm not saying playing for the Anaheim Ducks isn't as as cool as playing for America, but it's not, right?
Yeah.
Like it's just not. But like playing for your country, and then Canada's top dog in hockey. Like that's what Canada is known for, obviously. So it's like USA wanted a piece of that pie, and they got close, but it was it's kind of, I mean, you could compare it to, I guess, the NHL playoffs, but like the regular season compared to the 4 seasons, it's just not gonna keep up.
When the game was over there tonight, it for me, anyways. I mean, people were jumping up and down and high five. One guy tried to hug me. It was kind of awkward, but whatever. It's one of those things. And for me, it was more. And I've said this before, even with the Yankees or whoever. For me, it was more of a sense of relief. Like when your team loses, you get pissed off, right? And you're mad and start swearing. But like for me, especially with Canada, US and the rivalry, and even like when Canada plays the Russians or whoever it might be, there's because everybody's trying to knock Canada off the podium. You're like, okay, we survived another one. Like it was honestly, it was more of a sense of relief Canada won than being in jubilation because it was that I would have been more, that my emotion would have been worse if Canada would have lost. And when they won, I just sat back and enjoyed a beer and whatever. Like it was good. But I would have, if it was if the outcome was different, I guarantee I would have been, not as far as throwing shit, but you know what I mean, throwing shit, right?
I'm not gonna say it's like, is it like, it's not meaningless, right? Like I don't want to diminish it's just one of those weird, like the World Baseball Classic, right? And it's like, okay, now what? Like it's just, I don't know. And maybe like I felt a little weird after, the Eagles won the Super Bowl. I was like, okay, this is like, it's for me though, it's kind of like a weird place to be because we're not used to going the whole way and actually completing the task, and no matter what team I'm watching. So it's like, okay, now we won. It's like, not that it's underwhelming, but it's like, okay, now what? Like
The build up doesn't ever match the outcome.
Yeah, it's like once it's over, it's like,
you're like, okay, well, I got to work tomorrow. It's not like to that extent, but yeah, it's like, all right. No. Whereas if they lost, your emotions might be different. And it's just, it's funny how when your team, like when they it was just all right, and then okay, well, pay your tab, please, and gotta go.
That's like what exactly the Eagles quarterback said. He's like, the pain of losing it was like 100 times worse than like the thrill of winning it. Like and like I gotta feel like that's how he, I gotta understand that's how he feels. Like some guys won't say that, and maybe we take things like way too seriously, but there's people, there's people out there that like if Canada would have lost that, even though it's not the the Montreal Canadiens in the NHL final, even though it's not to that like level or whatever, it's still like, man, like I just, breaking TV, your day's ruined.
Well, that's like exactly, like people would have been more pissed off than they were happy. Like yesterday would have been a complete, like around the office yesterday. We talked about it a little bit, obviously, but if Canada would have lost, it would have been holy what the like it would have been awful. But Canada won. We're like, hey, right on, that was fun, and then it was over, right?
Maybe it's because you're used to just like you almost expect like
how negativity always outshines positivity, right? So you always find a way to bitch about everything in life. But when it comes to something good, you're like, oh, well, it's supposed to be that way. Yeah.
It feels like it comes and goes quicker then. Like if it's negative, it just lingers. It lingers. No matter what, oh, my job sucks. Oh, I had a good day today. Oh, well, tomorrow's going to suck. Like, it's just that's how, unfortunately, a lot of the time I feel like society is, but definitely with like, I mean, you look at the Cowboys, right? Every year they're going to win and they don't. And like these people rage out of their mind. And it's like, I could have told you they're not like, it's just, I don't know. Stuff like that doesn't make sense to me.
Like we talk about it all the time when we get together on these things and about teams that aren't going to win. We should actually do that for multiple sports. Like we'll maybe do a football one and a baseball one before the season gets going. We've talked about it all the time. I could give you 25 teams that aren't winning the World Series right now.
Yeah, baseball is like, not to say football is
same with football. I can give you 25 teams that ain't going to win next year, and the Cowboys are one of them. We talked about a few weeks back. Like they're just not. Like, and how people get so revved up and they think that their team has a chance. You got to have some realism as a sports fan. Like you have to. Like there's nothing, and because there's nothing wrong. And maybe because I'm a baseball guy and it's just a calmer sport, but there's nothing wrong with just enjoying the game. Like your team doesn't have you want your team to win, but what's wrong with just to sitting down with a 6-pack of beer and watching the game, and then okay, try again tomorrow, whatever.
No, I hear you. I think if you're going to be fully invested though, like because I know you watch more baseball than I do even, so it's like you catch a lot of let's say you're a Pittsburgh Pirates fan, right? But you have the same enthusiasm, like you're sitting down, watching most of all the games, like 80%, if not more, right? Are you going to sit there? Like, I'm not going to say your emotions are going to kind of go like a roller coaster because you expect like not great things, but is it like, are you even watching it? Like, are there Pirates fans sitting by the I'm sure there are, because like that's a good fan base. They won a bunch of World Series back then, but are there people sitting at the TV like, oh, this is our year? Like, I don't even know if that exists. Like, the Cowboys is different. It's football. It's 17 games. It's like you got to sit through 162 of like, we're probably not even going to make the playoffs again. Like, and then if you make the playoffs, you're like, they're not.
Like what's wrong with just watching the game and cheering, and then because I guess maybe it's the older I'm getting, you don't get too revved up about it. It's completely out of your control. You can cheer the guts out of it, but you wake, like it's done. You turn the TV off, go to bed, try again tomorrow, right? Like it's like you can be emotionally invested and then just be realistic. That goes, all right, well, I'm just a fan. Like I don't skin in the game. I don't know. Like you want your team to win, but when it's over, it's over. Like I don't know. It's just
my thing is just, is it any fun to be like, because you being a Yankee, like I'm not saying it's like you're not wrong in any way. I just like, are there Pirates fans sitting by the TV? Like, are you enjoying it for the game? Because in the back of your head, you're like, we have no shot again. Like, I don't know how much fun that can, because I've sat through years where like my team was just like the Eagles were 4-13, and I'm just like, I can't, like I can watch it, but it's almost worse to watch it than it is to like miss it. Like it's just depressing. So I totally get watching the game to like, because you love baseball, but it's almost like, do you just watch other games of that? Because then you don't even want to pay attention to how bad your team is, and it's year in and year out and decade in and decade. It's just, I don't know where you stand on that. So
my father-in-law, he's and my wife and her brother, they're Toronto people originally, and like my father. He is like he bleeds the Leafs. He talks about Toronto Maple Leafs all the time to a point like I don't even know what the hell you're talking about half the time, but he's so into it, and he wants the Leafs to win. He wants the Leafs to win so badly. He gets so filled with rage. It's almost not even fun watching a game with them. It's like Jesus, man. Like it's just a game. You don't want to just say just a game, because people who say it's just a game, they don't understand. Because the people who don't like sports, it's just a game. But he gets so filled with rage. It's almost like it's almost, I don't want to go as far as saying embarrassing. I don't know the word I'm looking for, but like Jesus, like to what end? Because are you like what constitutes a good season then? Like, do you have any joy in even watching? Like, and because only one team can win it, and the Leafs haven't won since '67, and I don't think they're going to win again this year. But so, do you even enjoy watching the freaking thing anymore when you're like, you're just so mad about it? I don't understand that. I just don't get that.
It's, for me, like I think if there's a lot of things in my own personal life going wrong, and then it's like my own team is like same thing, same year, different, or a different year, same result. Sorry there, but it's like that's when it builds. I mean, I don't do that so much anymore. Like if they lose, I just stare at the wall. Like when Penn State lost to Notre Dame, I was just like, yep. I just was like in disbelief. I shouldn't even been, but I was like, yep, that should, of course that happens. But I don't know if it's like, outside forces working. It's like, but I mean, hey, to some people for sure, sports is like winning and losing is like life and death. Like it's, and that same argument we just talked about, losing is probably 100 times worse than like that satisfaction of if they won. Like that would be good, but like losing is like the end of the world. So it's like,
because it's like it's supposed to be a escape from life for 3 hours or whatever it's supposed to be, right? And you lead up to the game is fun, and then the game's on, it's fun, and then they lose, and that sucks. They win, it's fun, and then but to go to the other, and you see, and it's not just my father-in-law, obviously, but you see people smashing their TVs, and you're like, okay, now you got to go buy another one, you idiot. Over a game that you have no control over, and like, I shouldn't be talking this way about sports people because it's a sports podcast, but like it's just have some realism in your life a little bit. Like it's insane. Like when the Yankees lost the World Series, I was bummed, but then you go, well, you know what? We got further than a lot of teams did this year, and you have some realism to it. And it's not because the Yankees have won in my lifetime. It's because it's a lot of years ago all of a sudden where that 96 team we talked about a few weeks ago, that 96 team when the Jeter dynasty first started, that's 29-30 years ago now. That's a long time. And so it's not like everything's fresh in your head still. Yeah, they got that one in 2009, but you kind of start to expect it a little bit. And that's the one thing that I can kind of take some solace in, is that my team, they try to win one every year. They put a team on the field that tries to win one, whether it's enough of an effort, because you can't have all-stars at every position making $40 million each. You just can't. But they see, like, I think that's where I can take some, that at least my team gives it a shot. So when I sit down to watch a game, like I'm going to watch even spring training today, you can kind of go into the season with a bit of a hope, right? Like with more than a glimmer, like the sun shining through the window right now. Whereas like if you're, like you said earlier, a Pirates fan, the blinds aren't even open. Right. So
and that's the thing too. Like, I mean, I totally understand going to a game, like that's a beautiful stadium and this and that, but it's almost like I don't know. Like, I know they'll have their, opening day, opening weekend, whatever it might be. And a place will probably be sold out. And it's like, I'm not going to say for what, that's dramatic, but it's like, that sucks. Like it sucks that those fans are subjected to an owner that doesn't care at all about winning. Like that's just, I'm not saying winning is everything, but in sports, it's cut and dry. It's like you win. There's only one team that wins the World Series. Like, and then like you said, the Yankees give it a go every year. You're seeing the Mets give it a go now with new ownership. It's like, it almost feels like a crime that these people are giving that owner money, because it's going nowhere. It's just going in his pocket, and that's it. Like, I don't know.
Like, you almost think being having the Oakland A's not playing in Oakland this year, obviously, and then never going back, it's got to be heart wrenching. But on the other hand, it's got to be a bit of and I don't know what the word I'm looking for. I don't want to say relief, but as like if you're a diehard A's fan, and you've been watching this garbage go on the field, and the money into Fisher's pocket, and the complaining, and the this and the blah, you might think that there might be a few of them go, you know what? I'm glad I'm glad they're gone. Like, I don't have to invest my time in it anymore. I don't have to watch them go 60-102 this year. I don't have to sit back and complain about. I can maybe grab onto a new team. I might go and watch the whatever minor league team that might be in the area now. I can grab onto something that I can invest some valuable time in, and not go, oh, geez, I knew it was going to happen again. They did it to me again this year, and maybe there's a few fans out there that might be. I don't want to say happy that they're gone, but might have a sense of relief that, you know what, I don't have to put up with this crap anymore. I'm good. I'm out.
I love these topics we're getting into, because it's like multi-layered, because you look at it this way. A lot of these people going to that, even though I saw a lot of interviews with the people that went to that stadium, and they're, the roof's leaking and this, but it was almost an escape from the shitty town. I hate to put it that way, but the shitty town of Oakland that it is. It's like that was their holy temple, if you will. But then, like you said, it's at the same time, it's a black cloud. It's they're not trying. You go to that stadium, it's 3/4 of the way empty. Like, it really is about perspective. I think there's a guy I follow on YouTube, and he went to, like, I think he had season tickets there, and he was like, it was almost like a family member died. And I can understand that. Like, that's, he loves baseball. He's like us, he loves the game of baseball to begin with. And then that was his childhood team. He grew up in Oakland, and then to see them to rip it out from underneath you, that's tough. That's as tough as it gets. It's just, like you said, there probably is, there is some people out there that are like, we're glad the circus is gone. Like, it sucks. We love the A's, but like it's everything above the A's. It's the ownership. It's, the stadium, everything above the baseball team sucks. And that's just the harsh reality. And I don't know. That's a tough pill. I think baseball, I will die on the hill that baseball should have intervened and forced the sale of the team and stayed in Oakland. But Oakland's not a great, it's going nowhere. That city's going nowhere. So I don't know.
There was ways that they could have got this deal done. There was ways that the government could have stepped in. There's ways the city, they tried to step in, but this guy was hell bent on moving no matter what. Right. So and it just, baseball should have found a way to get the deal, make it work. But Manfred works for the owners, right? So he couldn't stop the sale and stop the move, because if anybody, we've talked about before, that if any other owners want to do it someday, they have full right to do it, right? So if they would have stopped, then they have to stop the next one, the next one, the next one. Like, you remember when the Yankees were looking to get a new stadium out there in the Bronx, and he said New York wasn't going to do it. Steinbrenner almost moved the Yankees out to New Jersey. So it can happen with anybody. Right? So it's crazy. Speaking of Steinbrenner, it's such a ridiculous story because it's ridiculous, but I get it. The facial hair policy the Yankees have had for forever, when Steinbrenner bought the team back in the 70s, I think it was, and can't have any beards and blah blah all this stuff, and the hair can't be on the collar and everything that goes. It was announced yesterday by Cashman and by Steinbrenner that the Yankees finally are getting rid of their facial hair policy. It's still got to be clean and got to be kept, got to be well trimmed. Is this the stupidest story, or is it the right story, or is it a nothing burger? Is it like, it's all of the above to me? Like, I personally don't mind, and I think that if you're a professional, you should look like a professional. I like those, who's that Yahoo with the Phillies there with the beard and the hair.
Oh, Marsh, Brandon Marsh.
Yeah, like, to me, like, you make how many millions a year? Get a haircut, man. Like trim your beard. Don't have steak and potatoes hanging out of your off your yap and have it frozen to your face. And that's like, so that there is that side for me that I appreciated, that you look like a professional. But how this has become a story, it's a bit ridiculous.
I'm very, like, as far, like, okay, this is a weird comparison and it probably doesn't make sense, but I love, like, Penn State doesn't have their name on the back of their jersey. I think they're the only college team that doesn't. Maybe Notre Dame. Like, there's very few, right? And I've always
USC doesn't either, but there's not many. Yeah,
USC, that's a good example. Yeah. And like, I've always loved how basic, like, it's the blue and white with the black shoes. Like, perfect. I love that. I don't know if I'm in the majority there, but like, I almost compare it to the Yankees, right? It's blue and white, no name on the back, number, and the Yankee logo. Like, it's just simple, simplistic. And I think that all factors into, like, not to say facial hair, for example, but it's that, like, class, right? It's not over the top. It's not like you see the Padres, jerseys, and they're like 6 different colors. The Yankees would never do that. That would never exist on a Yankee jersey or anything like that. So I think they made the right adjustment, as far as, like, it's not like they said, okay, now you can look like, Johnny Damon on the Red Sox, right? And play for the Yankees. Like, and I think I think what they did with this is they finally caved, and they said, you know what, we're going to be able to bring in, like, I'm not going to say it's going to deter guys, but, like, it'll piss off guys enough to, like, make it an issue. It's just kind of like an issue a little bit. So I think they did the right thing from a business standpoint, like bringing in guys and not, it won't really skip a beat now, where before, like, certain guys are like, man, I don't want to shave my beard. Like, it's just one of those things. Like, and
think how dumb that sounds.
It absolutely is.
I agree with you. Aaron, I agree with you completely that some guys just don't want to. But if somebody's offering me $25 million and says, you know what, you got to shave your face, I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it should be a no-brainer. But I mean, you're talking about these
guys. Get me a contract with Gillette, and I'll do it all day. I'll do it right in the freaking dugout.
Yeah, as much as I'm not a Yankee guy.
I agree with you. But
I almost did like I said, as much as I'm not a Yankee guy, I kind of respected the fact that they're like, we're doing it this way, and that's it. Like the players don't overrule the ground rules we have, right? Like that type of thing. I kind of respected that. I was like, I don't know. They stand for something, right? I can get behind that, but it is surprising though. Like you said, I mean, I don't know if it's like a story that needs to be talked about, like on every news network or every sports network that it is. Like I see it everywhere, but it is like, wow, they did that. Like that's what I took from it. I'm like that, I never thought that would change. I thought it would be, instituted forever and just kept that way. But yeah, it's like you said, it's like players that wouldn't cater to that is like, there's people in society that will just not do things out of like, I do it my way and I don't care. And I know people like that. So I don't know. It was probably the right move though for that. I think it's
the time. It's time. I get it. I saw some guy, I can't remember who it was, but on WFAN yesterday, he said that was the deciding factor for Soto to sign with the Mets because facial hair or whatever. I didn't know he ever had a beard or anything, but no, it was $765 million. You idiot! Like don't. It's not because of a facial hair like that for somebody on a vaunted radio station that's been like the flagship of sports talk radio actually back in the 80s and the 90s. For somebody with that platform to say that facial hair was the reason why he went to the Mets, that's the stupid take. And you know what it is? It's clickbait. Now we're talking about it.
100%. Yeah.
$765 million. Simple.
And the suite, right? Like the Yankees would give the suite, and he said, that's. I don't know. I wonder if because we never ever saw it with the Yankee. Like you'd never see a Yankee saying, "Screw it, I'm sporting a beard anyway." I guess they probably wouldn't let him run out in the field, right? That's.
I think Mattingly kind of got away because it was supposed to be nothing below your lip, right? And Mattingly ended up having the handlebar mustache for a while there. Because he was he was pushing back a little bit and his hair was touching his collar and whatever. Like I don't know if you're employed, and at the end of the day, these guys are just employees, really. Mm-hmm. And if your employer says do this and you say no, well, okay, I'm not paying you. Like it comes down to that. And like how it's just funny how this. I know Jim fan of the van. He sent me a message yesterday about this that they got rid of the like you wonder how many players said no, I'm good, I'm not signing. Like you just like is there a large percentage, small percentage over the years that said my facial hair is more important than $60 million over 3. Like I find that hard to believe personally.
Yeah, no, it is. Is it at the side? Like okay, if you're not Soto, but somebody else, right? And like Bellinger is like the Cubs offer him, let's say $28 million over 4 years, and the Yankees offer him same deal, but he can keep his does that sway you one way? Does that okay? I'm gonna go here, same amount of money, but like as much as I can, crap on the Yankees because I don't like them. It is baseball prestige. I admit that. Like I know playing for the Yankees is like that's the big time, right? That's the big lights. So it's like if you're gonna like even Kevin Youkilis, I remember he can't I was like that guy will never play for the Yankees. Like it just. The way he looks and everything. He comes to the Yankees. He's bald. He's freaking no facial. You cater, right? But it's I don't know. Is it a deciding fact? Does it weigh your decision? Like if all money is the same and stuff like that. I doubt it. But there's probably some guys out there because we got to understand like some of these guys have never been told no their entire lives, and now they're like, oh, I can't have my facial hair. I'm not like. Get screwed, like I'm not going there. Like I do what I want. Like that's how they operate. So
I don't know. I see people all the time, and I don't know what they do for a living, but you're thinking, man, that guy should shave his face. He looks like an idiot. Like it's just like, and it's true. Like I'm not being politically correct, and everybody's allowed to do what they want, but I don't think you should ever do anything to embarrass your parents. And when you have a piece of steak hanging out off your beard, you probably, your parents probably aren't happy with that. I'm just saying, like it's not many moms be very happy with their little boy when he was it Bohm as well with the Phillies?
No, Bohm's got like the hair that comes out of.
Okay, there's another guy.
His hair is like kind of all over. Like he's got he's got some curls. But no,
there's another guy. And you go, what
Marsh's like hair comes out and then his beard comes, like everything it's just
Yeah, because there's a guy that plays, I think in San Jose still, Brent Burns, and he's got these missing teeth and a beard all over. Like it's just like you look like a moron. Like don't do anything to embarrass your parents. And like I don't know. To turn down but if it's clean shaven, it looks professional and not having it, like I said, not having it all over the place. I think that's a step in the right direction, I guess. But
and that's why I asked you, like I was wondering, if a guy comes out there and like there's too much, do they keep him in the dugout? Do you think there's anybody that's gonna push this? Like
there's got to be some sort of a flyer that got put in their lockers that what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. Like there's got to be something.
Yeah.
And then there has to be maybe the clubhouse attendant or the George Costanza, the assistant, the traveling secretary. Maybe that's his job, is to say, you're getting a little long there. You maybe give it a trim. Like there's got to be some sort of because before it was like none, right? You can have a mustache, that's it. So there was that's easy to police. Now it's getting a little bit long. You can't like what the hell are we talking about here? Like I get it.
That's my thing though. Like I've never heard anybody be disciplined by you've never heard it where it's like, oh, Stanton's sitting because he didn't shave today. Like that. I wonder if it's like, I mean, it's got to be held against them financially, like because there's somebody out there that's like, I'm going to push the limits of this and see if they like. There's always like Verdugo would picture me as that guy. Like I don't give a shit. I'm Alex Verdugo. It's like
he's a loser. Is he signed anywhere yet?
No. Nope.
Must be a reason, hey?
He can play left field too.
Yeah, but there must be a reason.
Shit, but anymore.
You know what I would, if I was the Yankees, what I would do is I'd make Stanton shave that little cleft thing he's got going on. I can't stand when people do that. Like, what's the point? Because why are you doing that?
No,
what is that?
JT Remuto, the Phillies catcher, has that, and he's had it and I'm like, that looks like shit. And I don't know if I'm not going to speak for a while.
It's almost like you missed a spot and you just forgot to go back and do it.
I don't know if there's any. I mean, I'm not trying to pretend like I know what women think for sure, but like, is there any woman on the face of the earth that thinks that looks all right? Like it looks, for lack of a better word, idiotic. I could say a lot worse, but I agree with. I think I always see that. I'm like, what the. And Stanton, same. It's like
it's just a little bit there for whatever reason, just to, I don't know, just to save food for later or something. I don't know. Can lick his lip. I don't know. It's weird. It's just gets barbecue sauce in there and goes up. I don't know. It's weird. I know my wife thinks it looks stupid too, right?
It'll bother me because I have a little bit. I'm not pretending like I got a huge, but it'll bother me if I have that in addition to this. And these guys only have that. I'm like,
that should be a fine. That should be a $4 million fine. You miss 3 games. Not that Stanton can, miss any more games. Hey, that was a shocker. Hey, last week Stanton on the IL. No,
it's like already taxes. Yeah, it really is.
And you sent me a message too about that. Like my wife, she's laughing. She goes, already? I said, oh yeah, it's a thing. It's just what it is. Like it's just bad, bad. Like tendonitis in both arms. Like maybe leave the weights alone, man. Like just. Like quit.
Just wait till you retire to do that. Like I guess it's an ego thing. Like he's like, for me to feel good, I gotta look good. I don't know what it is because I don't see any other baseball player that's like jacked like he's that guy. Looks like he could be.
It's unbelievable,
man. Like it's
it's almost like he can't even walk straight. It's like the Tin Man can't scratch his ears. His arms are so big. Like it's just it's crazy. Down the IL again.
Well, that's why he hits the ball 120 miles. Like his exit velocity is like the highest by 10 miles an hour. Like it's something ridiculous. But it's almost like you said, he's like the Tin. He doesn't have enough oil on him or something. Like he just pulls something every time he goes out. I don't get
tough.
it.
It's tough. They'll be okay again this year. I don't know. They don't have a third baseman right now, and first base is kind of a mystery, and they don't and they don't have Alex Verdugo, so I don't really know what they're going to do with old Verdugo. But
do you think
that guy's the biggest nozzle on the planet? But
he's got some figuring out to do, I think. But I don't know. I almost think the Yankees might be better. That I know you don't have that middle lineup punch like you did with Judge. Like Judge and Soto was like good luck pitching around that, but. if Bellinger gives you 20, Fried gives you. I think Fried's going to be good.
Yeah, they'll be fine. They'll be fine. The World Series, well, we'll see. But like I had zero faith in them last year, and they went to the World Series. So, but Soto losing Soto hurts obviously, but it's whatever are you going to do? Can't cry about it.
Might be better.
I hope, and this isn't because he left the Yankees. That's neither here nor there. I knew he was probably leaving anyways. I hope he's an epic failure, and I don't know why. Like I'm not jealous. I'm not envious and nothing. I just the way that he went about his business just was kind of slimy, and it's a business, and we said it earlier, whoever gives you the most money, that's where you're going. But just say it. Just say it. Come out and say, I'm going to the highest bidder. I don't care what their record was last year. If the Miami Marlins want to give me $100 million a year, I'm going there. Just say it. Boris, his agent, he's got to just start say that. But his guys aren't signing for as much as they used to. A lot of teams are straying away from Boris guys. It's just I wish that these guys would just flat out just say, I'm going to the team that gives me the most money.
No, I agree. The thing that, if I'm sitting there, in your shoes, the money was so close that's where it would annoy me about Soto. That's where it would be like, okay, this guy is like purely an asshole in my opinion. Like, because it's so close, and then it's the skybox thing that really puts it over the top. Like, give me a break. Like that is really Bush League. That's like, you're making 700 sheets, and then you're what? I forget. He's got off the field stuff making money.
He made 30 whatever last year. That's a lifetime's worth of money.
And I guarantee they wouldn't charge him full price for that box for the whole. Like, the fact that he's like, I want that as part of my deal. That to me is like, I mean, come on, like, give me a break. So no, I've never been when he was on the Nats, I didn't have I was like, whatever, he's a good young player. I didn't, but then he goes to the Padres. I kind of, they interview him after the game the one time, and they're like, why aren't you guys winning? He's like, ask everybody else, basically. And I'm like, this guy is just all about, like, it's never his fault. It's never about it's all about him, not the team. And that whole Soto shuffle thing, I can't stand him. And now him being in the NL East, I'm gonna not even. It's gonna make it work. Like, I can't stand the guy to begin with. So it's gasoline. Yeah, I don't think he's gonna do as well. I really like playing at Citi Field.
Not hitting around Judge
Stadium. Yeah.
Does Pete Alonso scare you?
No, I mean he's
a player.
Clutch. Well, Soto was clutch but I mean, I just think playing at Citi Field is gonna dampen. I'm not gonna say he's gonna be crappy, but playing at Yankee Stadium for a lefty, that helps. That's a godsend. You know what I mean? That is just, like, Bellinger. I think Bellinger probably has a better year this year because he's a lefty at Yankee Stadium. Like, that works.
I hope so. Well, Aaron, this is a lot of fun once again. Another hour flew by like nothing. Crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad we made it all the way back to baseball. See, it felt like I don't know. If I might be crazy, but it feels like this year is going slowly. And I never say that, but it's like, it's weird time.
You get the January blues, and then you get into February. Like, holy Christ, we're still in February.
This year definitely is. I don't know, but we made it all the way back, and now we just got to get through spring training, which that to me feels like forever too. But at least it's some form of.
There's too many games, especially like we talked about this in the office yesterday. Like they know who's on the team already. Like, there might be one surprise guy here and there. Is there really a reason to pitch these guys and have the 15th starter in your depth chart
wearing number 98 playing shortstop? It's just weird.
It's too much. Now spring training makes so much money compared to what it used to, and that's, once again, it's the reason for it. But they get to try out that automated ball and strike thing a little bit. Should be interesting to watch that today.
Yeah,
I don't know if I like it a lot. We'll see how it all plays out.
See. It's another change. Yeah, they're every year it feels like they're doing something different. Good or bad, I don't know, but
they're not drawing any more eyeballs to it. Like, that's the thing. Like, all these changes, it's not doing anything. So maybe they like, I'm not against change. Some things I am because I'm old, but it's not adding to viewership. Like, there's less baseball there's more people that watch it because there's more people, and that's all it is. But like, even like, 'cause I work at a baseball facility, and the kids who play, they watch a little bit, but they don't watch a ton. Like we talked about it before, like in the Belly Up show last year, we talked about it. It's just not a thing. So all these changes, is it alienating the guy who's watching all the time? It might be. I don't know.
Well, what I'm worried about too is, like, your generation. I think, if you like baseball at your age, like, you're going to continue. Like most of, they're going to continue to watch baseball, and people in their 30, like I'm approaching 30. It's like my generation. I like I'm the like basically the TikTok generation and all that.
Yeah.
Like short attention spans. Baseball is like the furthest thing from a short attention span game. Yeah. I worry for baseball going forward, 10, 15 years from now. That's when I'm like, like, it's viewership going to tank. That's what I'm, because, we talked about it. Are they going to make, like, when it gets to that point, are they going to make radical changes like that the golden hitter? And like, will it be like there's a gold baseball and it's a home run actually counts for 3 instead? Like, is it going to be absolutely radical to where they're like, okay, we can't compete with the NFL because everybody loves the NFL, or watches it, I should say, right? Yeah. But it's I don't know. The fact that they're not gaining viewership is to say it's not concerning. I think you're lying to yourself. It's like,
yeah, you wonder if it's banana ball. I don't know. It's weird. Anyways, let's get moving here for Saturday. What are you doing the rest of the day?
Probably for once, I think I'm probably just taking it easy. I really don't sit around too much, but I kind of need it. So I'll throw on some spring training and take it easy. I think
I got that. Then I got a charity walk for something. I can't do something.
Well, you'll know when you get there.
Man of the people. I know what it's for. I'm a man of the people, Aaron. Man of the people. Face of the nation here in Lethbridge, Alberta. Anyway, 1420 Sports Bar Podcast. For Beer Sports Talk and a whole lot more. This show is brought to you by SeatGeek.com. Check out. Remember, it doesn't matter where you are, it's who you're with. Have a great day, folks. We'll talk to you later.